Everybody probably wants a quick route, but, God has a plan for everybody. And once you put all your own plans and thoughts aside and just follow his path, I think that's when I kind of started just getting back to my happiness of this game since we've been playing since we were little kids. And I think that's the most important part of it, just not rushing anything, taking everything one day at a time and letting things come to you.
I think everything happens for a reason. You don't see it in the moment because you're in the storm, but when you make it out of it, you kind of look back at it, you realize that it was the best thing for you. So wouldn't change it for the world.
All right, welcome back to the ZenGame QB Show, where we go inside the minds of college quarterbacks. I'm here at Bobcat Stadium in San Marcos, Texas, in the President's Suite, joined by Jordan McCloud and Lindsey Scott. Pumped to have you guys on today. It's going to be a special season for you.
Thank you for having us.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, just going to kick off the show. And Lindsey, you had a storied career with Coach Kenny here at Texas State, back at Incarnate Word. Won FCS Offensive Player of the Year, and would love to just hear through your eyes. Talk about Jordan, how you see him as a fit for this offense, because no one knows that better than you do. I couldn't ever summarize it better than you could through your eyes.
We were very happy when we got Jordan. I think this offense runs extremely smooth with a kind of certain type of prototype quarterback, and he's everything that we wanted. He could push the ball down the field, make intermediate throws, and then he's got legs to kind of open up that third dimension of our offense. So, our quarterback last year decided to move on, and there was kind of a question mark, around that position. And when he decided to come here, I think a lot of weight was lifted off our shoulders. And, I think he's going to put up a lot of points this year, a lot of touchdowns.
Yes, sir.
We talked about that a couple of times. So, but I think the biggest quality is that he's a leader, That's a lot of things that kind of go unnoticed at the quarterback position sometimes, especially nowadays with, a lot of different variables in college football. So he's an anchor in the locker room, and I'm excited to watch him ball out this year.
Appreciate you.
I think everyone at San Marcos, if they don't know yet, I spent a lot of time studying your tape before this interview, and they've got an awful lot to be excited about. But it wasn't a short journey to get to that point last year where you won Sun Belt Player of the Year. A lot of the season, James Madison was undefeated. Your coach had such a successful season with you there that he's now coaching at the University of Indiana. It's a big deal.
Definitely.
And kind of talk to me about the start of your journey. What brought you to South Florida back in 2018? And let's talk a little bit about this road that got you to this point now where you're in a position at Texas State where you can do some very special things this year.
Definitely. The journey is a blessing. Obviously, there was rough parts of it, but back in 2018, I had originally went to USF with Coach Charlie Strong. I love that man to this day. We talk all the time. I went there going out of high school just because it was like only my second or third year playing quarterback. I was close to home. Obviously, my family, I'm from there. So I started there in 2020. We got a new coach coming in. That didn't really work out too well. So I transferred to Arizona in 21 with Coach Jed Fish. He was another, great mind of football that taught me the game a lot. I spent 2 years there. I broke my ankle. Then 2022, I transferred to JMU to play in the 23 season, which obviously, was one of the best years of my life as far as football. And it was a great year last year. Transferring here, I just wanted to be with the offense, and guys that, love the game of football, very explosive offense, great coaches, even better people. It's just a fun team to be around.
What was it at JMU that you felt finally put you in that position to play? I don't even believe you started the season last year as a starting quarterback there, which is crazy to even think about. But what happened that finally got you in this spot last year where you were able to show what you were capable of?
I believe I always had it. I had spurts at USF where I really played really well. Same thing with Arizona. But I think once I got to JMU, Coach Tino, who's now at Indiana, my quarterback coach, he was very, he was hard on me every single day. Didn't let a single detail slide by. Obviously he, gave me my brownies whenever I did good and things like that. But each and every day, practice, games, he always kept me level-headed, level-shouldered, never thinking about the next day, next play. It was always just living the moment. And I think he did a really good job of just pushing me day in and day out.
How did the opportunity come about last season? Where was the moment where you got to come into the game and show what you were capable of?
It was the third quarter of the first game. It was kind of some things going on in camp. Coach Signetti decided to go with the quarterback that's still there now. I came in, I got the opportunity to, and I just never looked back.
So entered. Was it kind of like the Deshaun? I remember Deshaun Watson, his first season with the Texans. They didn't start him the first game. They went into halftime of the first game, kind of sat down in the locker room and said, I think that we should play this Deshaun Watson guy and see what happens. And he never looked back. I believe became Rookie of the Year that year. Was it similar in your case in that sense where it was a going back to halftime, kind of everyone grouped in the locker room and said, hey, maybe we should try bringing Jordan out in the second half? And
yeah, it was kind of something like that. But, I kind of knew that I was going to get a chance to play. Like I said, Coach Tino did a good job keeping me level-headed, keeping me focused on, the task at hand. And then once I came in, I was ready to go.
Was that actually one of the things that you think helped you have your breakout last year, the whole way that unfolded, where to a degree there's almost less pressure, just kind of coming into the game in the third quarter, not worrying about it as much? And then once you saw yourself do it, it's kind of easier to maintain it than to get it going.
Yeah, to a certain extent. Obviously, I thought that I should have, been the starter coming out. But, like I said, Coach made their decision. I would say it kind of put a chip on my shoulder. And once I got in there, I didn't obviously never want to come back out.
And you didn't have to come back out. Not only not to come back out, you won Conference Player of the Year. So I'd say it was pretty easy to say that it was a good decision to have you in the game. And Lindsey, you can understand Jordan's road probably better than almost anybody in the country. How many stops did you have during your college career?
I started off at LSU, then went to Last Chance U, Missouri, Nicholls State, UIW. So 5 total schools, four FBSs.
Yeah, bounced around. Finally, your breakout was with Coach Kenny at UIW, and you won FCS Offensive Player of the Year. Get to finish on a massive exclamation point, the best that you could have had. What was it that ultimately led you to UIW in that last season?
Yeah, so I finished at Nicholls State and had, a pretty good year, but nothing crazy. A lot of rushing yards, running the ball a lot, and a lot of NFL teams had me as, running back grade. So I started training and kind of get ready for pro day. Didn't sign anything officially, and then Coach Kenny and Coach Leffers reached out to me, and I went on a visit there. At that point, you're 7th year senior. You don't need all the glitz and glam. So we just sat down and watched film, got dinner. And it was the first time that I had a head coach who played quarterback and an OC who played quarterback at a high level. So that was something that really dragged me there because just the way they explained, how they were going to run the offense in the game, that they understood the same perspective that I did. I was like, it feels like a good opportunity to kind of put some points on the board, and make a splash. So I had one more year of eligibility, and I thought, why not? And it worked out pretty well for us at UIW.
It's a pretty big bet in yourself, though, right? If you felt that there were some NFL teams that could give you a chance at running back in a camp, that's kind of a sure thing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you always got to bet on yourself. And it's not the first time in my career where I've gotten that from whether it be a college coach or, a scout or something like that. I think sometimes as a quarterback, there's only one quarterback on the field. And when that day comes, I hope it doesn't for other quarterbacks, but the day comes, they say, you're not going to be the guy. And, especially for guys like Jordan and I that are good athletes, there's going to be somebody who's going to reach out and try to get you change position. And I think that kind of goes against the integrity of being a quarterback, especially if you train and play this position your entire life. Now, in some circumstances, it may be the best for you, but I just felt like every stop that I went to was like, I am a quarterback. When those scouts were telling me we got you as running back grade, I was like, well, I got to find an opportunity to prove them wrong because I know I'm a quarterback. So that's was my thought process. I was sitting in my hotel room before I decided I was going to commit. And that was kind of my thought process. It was like, this is my last chance to prove, to scouts that I can do this. And I got 2 coaches that believe in me. So let's go ride.
It'd be a bummer for you to switch positions because you can even just see that talking to you and now you're coaching in addition to playing, that your mind is a massive part of what you bring to the table as a football player.
Yeah.
And at the running back position, there are a lot of opportunities to use that tool, but there's no position in sports maybe where your mind is more valuable than as a quarterback. So it'd really, I think, be a disappointment to not be able to be in a position to utilize that.
Yeah, I think if I were to change a different position for the rest of my career, it'd kind of be like that itch I can't scratch, As the running back, I can't flip a protection because the quarterback didn't see rotation, or, I can't throw hot. I can't make that guy do, the things that I would do at that position. So I just sometimes I'll sit down and kind of think about life if I play something differently, and I don't think I'm as happy. So
I was thinking that if you were a running back, that you'd probably be the most annoying running back for the quarterback.
Definitely, you would.
That'd be funny. Let's be back there. Let's give me the green dot. I'll handle everything for you.
No, I could just like, you appeal to me as a person that probably would walk over if someone did miss a coverage and say like, "Hey, no, you really should have seen that."
Yeah, you should have flipped that protection this way because I mean, you never know. Me and the quarterback might be best friends back there. Just don't worry. But you just read the defense. I'll handle the protection. So it could be a good little duo. But
how helpful has Lindsey been for you, Jordan, even through this fall camp process of getting you prepared for these games, having those kind of eyes, being so fresh playing, but not being competition, just being someone there to help you out?
Yeah, I mean, extremely helpful. Me and him we're close on and off the field, but he obviously was a star in this offense. Put up crazy numbers, and that's the same thing I want to do. So he's been through it, so he sees things and understands the offense to point of actually from experience. So he helps me out day in and day out.
What was probably the most useful thing instantly, either you guys can answer, but that you, Lindsey, were able to impart on Jordan in these first few months together?
I would say he can tell you the same thing. He's a vertical choice king. So he's been helping me out with that a lot, and that's like the first thing that I've kind of gotten like better from with him.
I think from my perspective, I think like my season I had a great year, but you go back and watch the film, there's still areas for me to improve. There's still mistakes that I made. So I kind of carry those into this position so I can teach him the mistakes I made so he doesn't make those same mistakes. Because ultimately my goal is to make sure that he plays better than I did when I was playing. So I think when you have a tool as myself, my job is to make sure that he goes out there and breaks every record that I got.
And he had 60 touchdowns passing. Are you 71?
71 total, 60
Jeez.
passing, 11 rushing. So yeah, I want him, to go for the 75, 80.
Would 71 be an FBS record if you did that?
63
I think
would be the record for passing record. I don't know the total.
I don't know the total.
I don't know the total.
I knew you had those record-setting years. I actually hadn't done. I'm a stats person. I'm kind of bummed at myself. I didn't do a stats check on that, but that would be a record if you're able to pull it off, Jordan.
Yes, sir.
And maybe we put that out in the air.
Hey, like I said,
I manifested every
power
day.
in the tongue.
Power in the tongue.
I'd be cool to look back at the end of the year and say that we talked about that. It's kind of a therapeutic process for you to a degree, Lindsey, to be able to say, like, there are obviously, you didn't get to win the FCS National Championship we're talking about before we started recording that year in Incarnate Word, but you could have the opportunity to at least kind of, I don't want to say right some of those wrongs, but scratch some of those itches that you couldn't complete. You only got to have 1 year. I'm sure you think to yourself all the time, like, man, if I had gotten to play 3 years with Coach Kenny, what could my college career have been like?
All right. We talk about it, all the time. If I had one more year eligibility, come to Texas State afterwards, and this, that, and the other. But I'm very content and blessed in the way my journey kind of went out. I'm very blessed that they gave me the opportunity to be here and help the quarterbacks. I think at the end of the day, it's about using your platform to make an impact, whether it's coaching, playing in the community. So the fact that I'm here and being able to share my past experiences and kind of help coach Jordan and all our quarterbacks through theirs. I love waking up in the morning, coming here and doing that. So everything happened for a reason. I'm glad it did.
With East Mississippi, where did that timeline line up in comparison to the show?
So I got there in August of 17, I think, like right after fall camp at LSU, and they had just moved the show to Independence. So they missed out on that whole national championship year. We won the JUCO national championship in 2017. But they did come back. They came to the national championship and kind of did like a recap, like how's the MCC doing? So I'm kind of glad they left though. Buddy was very chill. I think the cameras kind of stressed him out. But they missed out on some good content.
What's he like off camera? Because you got to experience him as an actual coach. I think that people probably forget because that next 2 seasons was so outrageous,
Crazy.
He was an amazing coach before that show even showed up. I mean, built an outstanding program before those cameras went on. So what was he like as a coach when the cameras weren't rolling?
He was great. As a person, he was great. You sit down, like sit in his office, just talk to him, chop it up. He's just like any other human being. I think from a production standpoint, your job is to make the show appealing to viewers, and no matter what dynamic it is. So he had, like, you just like any other coach, you do something that makes him upset, he's going to get angry at you. So he had a couple of those instances during the season, but it was completely justified. And I think kind of Netflix took some of those and just kind of showed it a little too much. They didn't show the good side of him because I think there was more good than, bad. So he was an amazing coach. We won national championship, like I said, and that gives merit to him that he was doing his job from coach perspective, from getting the right guys around you, recruiting perspective. So I didn't give him a phone call. I haven't talked to him in a couple of years, so I need to give him a ring. But he's a good guy.
It's cool. What was your best memory from JUCO?
In Scuba, Mississippi, there's not much to do. The closest like actual town is Meridian, like an hour and a half. So on campus, the best memories I have was we win a game, and usually you go celebrate in some form or fashion. It'd just be all the guys in one room playing video games, having like a little tournament. That's what we did at the home games. And then off the campus, after every Thursday, because we played on Thursdays, and we had Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. Me, Kirk Merritt, and Mike Williams, my two wide receivers, would hop in the car, go to Meridian, go to the to the mall, movies. So those probably two of the things that kind of stick out to me. And then the national championship, of course, that was a special day. Just kind of watching all of our hard work kind of coming to fruition. So,
is there any chance that you and Kirk Merritt could reunite in the UFL?
I hope so. He played for the Houston Roughnecks. We actually we talked about it because we did a team kind of scrimmage one Saturday against them, and we were talking about it, kind of teaming up again. So,
oh man, that guy can be.
He's a freak.
He's so good.
Yeah, he's one of the most athletic guys I've ever seen ever. Like, he's just not an ounce of body fat. He's just ripped. Can run a 4.3. Can jump 40-something inches. I think for him, it's just about getting into the right fit. I think that's a kind of the story for a lot of players. I think the right fit can kind of transform your career. There's a lot of places where it's like a Lego piece. You just don't fit there.
Yep.
Yeah.
You experienced both. You guys both have experienced.
Oh yeah.
That it's one of the beautiful things about the transfer portal and why it's helping a lot of kids achieve the best futures they can. Is sometimes you have great conversations, everything looks like it's going to be great, and for whatever reason, something just doesn't fit the way that everybody expects.
All right.
But when you get a chance to make a change, like both of you guys did, sometimes it fits perfectly.
Yeah.
And you never even could have imagined it. Jordan, did you know at JMU that when you kind of made that transfer decision, like, hey, maybe this one's going to be the right one?
Yeah, just going through the process, because I transferred, I want to say like 22 in like September. So I had a little bit of time. And then I think I committed in late November. But JMU, I knew it was already a special place. It was their first year D1, and they had a good reputation with quarterback, because Dino did a great job with all of them. So I knew he would be, and he's been like at Alabama, Florida State. So he obviously knows what he's doing with quarterback. So going there, I just wanted to go to a place where I knew that was, quarterback friendly. The game was kind of molded around the quarterback of the team, and they did a good job of doing that.
Yeah, we had Curtis Rourke on the show. He's going to play for that staff this year up at Indiana. And have you talked to Curtis?
I haven't. No.
Wonderful. I get to ask you a cool question then. If you were to give Curtis a piece of advice coming to play with that staff as he heads into this year, what would it be?
Yeah. It's a few things. Mainly just be you. I would say don't try to, some coaches, I think, try to make you into something, that you're not. And I think with them, they do a good job of just letting you be you. But obviously, playing within the system and things like that. And I would say trust what Coach Tino is telling you. He obviously does a great job. He's a super offensive mind. So I would say just trust what Coach Tino is telling him.
If you were to go back to JMU, what was the number one thing you think you learned there that elevated your game?
We used to just say this thing that I kind of carried the whole time I was there, is like having a sniper mentality. So no matter what's going on around you, you just always got to stay focused, laser focused on, your target, which is basically your job for a quarterback. And I would say that's something that I carried each and every day.
Last, as long as we're on the subject, we had one other guest that you also played with, in Noah Fafita at Arizona.
Oh, yeah.
Are both in the
same that's my boy.
You guys are both in the same QB room. What was the experience playing with him? You were there when he was a freshman.
Yep.
What did you see from him when he was a freshman, when the cameras weren't on, when no one was watching him play, that that you maybe saw signs that, wow, when this guy does get his number called, he's going to be something?
Yeah, naturally, Noah's a great person. Like, just coming in, he's a quiet guy. But, obviously he's coming in as a freshman with his teammates that were coming in as well. He came in, he wasn't a quiet guy, but he opens up, obviously. But on the field, like, nothing phases him, especially to be obviously not the, tallest in quarterbacks and stuff like that. So, but on the field is like, day one, he came in through like a 60-yard bomb. Everybody, like, he has a crazy arm for his size, and his poise for the game and understanding the game was amazing from off the jump.
Were you guys texting back and forth last year when you kind of both having your moments?
Oh yeah, and we still do. That's what I love Noah. We talk all the time. I talked to him. I want to say like last week. We were texting throughout the season because I want to say came in like week 4 or 5 or something like that. Then obviously had a great season after that. So we kept up every week.
Must have just been a lot of fun last season.
Definitely, 100%. Yeah.
You guys are both sitting on the bench watching Jaden, excellent player, and then you get to go with your separate paths and both have your moments in such a major way. Pretty incredible.
That's kind of how it goes back to what Lindsey was saying. Like, obviously only one quarterback was playing, but that QB room, I mean, we were all close and, unique in our own ways. And obviously all of us were really good players. But like Lindsey said, only one quarterback could play. So once everybody kind of got their chance to showcase that, it was pretty cool.
Football world's a small world, right? Because I'm pretty sure Jaden was playing the UFL against you this year, at least was on a roster. I believe he signed with someone late in the season, didn't he?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
I thought I saw that.
I'm pretty sure he ended up, he was going to, it's an even smaller world, he was going to transfer here. That was for a few days.
Oh, he was, the Brahmas, San Antonio Brahmas. He ended up signing there like mid-season. So I saw him after that game. It is a small world. I mean, there's so many connections in football, especially with the transfer portal now.
Yeah, it's insane. There's a good chance that the two of you guys will be playing against each other next year in spring football, and Jaden's going to get an opportunity to show what he could do. Noah said that the number one thing he learned from Jaden was his fun for the game and how much he enjoyed being out there. Was that something that you carried over also last year into JMU playing with him?
Yeah, Jaden, obviously he has a fun personality on and off the field. He's always got high energy. So, that's something that I could see.
Yeah, it's just an incredible group of people. Sometimes you see these QB rooms and you just can't believe that a team had 3 guys or 4 guys in the room at the same time that were all so talented. That Arizona room you were a part of that last year with you, definitely. Noah and Jaden, pretty outrageously loaded.
Definitely,
just a deep, deep, deep group. Pretty incredible things. When it came to Texas State, talked about it a little bit earlier in the process. What was your portal process like? Because that had to be a totally different experience. Like your last few experiences in the portal, you were a highly touted player, get to go to some exciting places, but you hadn't had the on-field production yet that you had at JMU. It would be impossible to. You were Conference Player of the Year. What was the process like this year, and how'd you go about choosing your next home?
Well, so I entered it, I want to say the first after we played Cold Star last game. I originally plan was to stay at JMU, but then the coaches came in and told us the next day that they were going to Indiana. So I went into the portal. I was there for about obviously a month. But they had a rule to where I think if you were it was like some transfer, I don't know, that got handled, and then so I kind of missed out on maybe a few places like that, and then going through the ups and downs of only having 1 year left. A lot of schools wanted maybe younger guys, which, is part of the process. I understand that. But coming here, it just kind of felt like the, perfect opportunity to, just be better than I was last year. Obviously, I've been in this conference before. We have I believe, an extreme shot to go to the college football playoffs, and that's something that I wanted to do. So picking this place was kind of easy for me. And I had been talking to Coach Kenny and Coach Leftwich since the year before, so.
Did you guys play Texas State last year?
No, we didn't.
I didn't think so.
They played them the year before I got there in 22.
Even so, because you were in the conference, were there players that you recognized right off the bat? They're like, wow, I'm happy these guys are on my team now.
Joey and Ish. I obviously knew about Ish because he was an All-American. Then Joey, I saw on Instagram a few times. He had like these crazy catches. So I knew about Joey too, yeah.
What makes Joey such an incredible player now that you're playing with him? Because this guy came out of nowhere last season.
I would say just he's very smart. Outside of his athletic ability, he's extremely smart, understands how to read defenses when he's running his routes. He's such a team guy. If he doesn't have the ball, he's the hardest blocker on the field, and he doesn't drop anything.
No, nothing.
He doesn't drop anything. So
Yeah, he's a guy I think that he'll probably find his way onto an NFL roster.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
I think what I like about Joey the most is that there's no latency between his mind and his body. It's almost simultaneous. Like he'll recognize a coverage or recognize that he needs to fit here on a run, and it just happens. It's so fluid. A lot of good players out there, they have to think and then act, and it just kind of happens at one time for him. So it allows him to play a lot faster than others.
He just seems to be like one of these players. Same thing that happened here, where absolute steal. It says a lot about him that he's still here.
Definitely.
Some team's going to draft him, and everyone's going to be wondering why it was that late. It doesn't matter what round it's going to be. If it's round 1, it'll be that it was too many picks late in round 1. If it's round 3, people are going to wonder how that guy was still around in round 3. It seems like one of these people that, watching him in my limited time, seeing him play, it's that no matter what happens, he's going to be underestimated one way or another.
100%.
He just needs a shot. That's his thing. And he's so humble. He won't, obviously, he cares, but I don't think he'll make him a difference if he goes first round or 7th round. I think he just wants to get on the field and play.
Opportunity to showcase what he can do. 100%.
And what are the parts that makes Texas State, that makes this program, that make Coach Kenny's program different, not just schematically, but culture-wise, that just make this different than any of the other places that you guys have played at?
I'll go first. I've seen it in 2 places, UIW and here, as a player and a coach. So I feel like I've really kind of seen every dimension of how he operates, how the culture operates. And I think the biggest thing, it's a top-down effect, right? So obviously he's the head man, but then he goes out and he recruits coaches that are like family that he knows before, whether it be a good connection from a coach that he trusts or coach with. And then from there, they kind of trickle down into the players. They make sure when we're recruiting that we recruit, good guys, guys that will buy into, what we're trying to practice and preach. So I think we have the saying, habits reflect the mission. And that's something that we live by as a group, as a team. No matter if it's, how you wake up and brush your teeth or how you go to class, they preach things like that. You go make sure you're on time for class, make sure you're in the front row, when classes start. So I think that's why you see so much success. Obviously, he's a great coach and surround himself with great coaches and great people, but it's the way of life that he's preaching, and it's had an impact, and it will continue to do so.
Yeah, kind of like what he said. Outside of, obviously, they're amazing coaches, but just as people, they're I would say, like, not every place is, the coaches are for the players. I would say, a lot of places in the country, like, coaches are doing their jobs and maybe want to, move on or it's some self-centered. Our coaches actually, they love their players and they show it. They take care of us on and off the field, take care of our bodies. Their open door policy if you need to come talk to them whenever, things like that. And I think that's big on success because it's somebody that you want to play for. It's like, I would say it's kind of hard to play for somebody that's just like, very quiet and stuff like that. Like, these coaches are going to talk with you. They're going to mess with you, joke around with you and things like that. That's what makes you want to come back and be here every day when we got to be here, in the morning and stuff like that. So I would say that's the biggest thing.
It's the energy.
The energy, for sure.
You feel like Coach Kenny he's still playing out there?
Yeah, actually last year, like the last couple of weeks, he was down there running the scout team. He's back there playing scout team quarterback. So it definitely feels like he's very involved with the team, no matter what the angle is. Like, he makes sure that he brings the energy every day and kind of make sure that we go out there and do the same. So he's definitely strongly involved.
My whole mom's side of my family is from Tulsa.
Okay, yeah.
He's a legend out there.
Oh yeah. He is a legend out there.
That dude was.
He'll let you hear it.
Yeah, I bet he's a stud. It's one of those places where if he ever wants to feel important, not that he doesn't hear, he can go back on a plane to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he'll be treated like royalty.
Definitely.
That's a city where everyone knows who he is. They love their Hurricanes.
Yeah. He was our D coordinator was there too as well with him. Dexter McCloud, he was a pretty good safety that year. I think he still holds some records over at Tulsa.
18 interceptions.
Yeah, 18 interceptions in the year. So, maybe they got to go back for a game one day and get their standing ovations. But
yeah, hopefully go back for a game play there and then maybe make some people upset, but they could still appreciate that he was a good player there one day.
Definitely.
Good players, good coaches.
Yeah, and you have a great little legacy of offensive minds from the University of Tulsa because Brendan Marion, the offensive coordinator at UNLV, was also a very storied wide receiver at the University of Tulsa. And I think that it's taken way, way, way too long for him to get his offensive opportunity calling plays in the FBS level. And it was going very well at UNLV last year. So it was nice to see that all come to fruition. Where was the moment at UIW where you kind of knew, wow, like, we're really good. This is something a little bit different than anybody else has going on?
I kid you not, it was the very first game. I can't remember, I think we might have been ranked 14th in FCS, and we were playing Southern Illinois, who had a great year the previous year, and they were ranked 6th in the nation. And there were a lot of nerves, a lot of talks, and then we came out there and just kind of, we put it on them. We blew them out. And then from that point on, I was like, I knew we were good, but I didn't know we were that good. And then we went the following week and beat Nevada, and that was the kind of the stamp right there where I said, we're pretty good. The only person that can kind of get in our way is ourselves.
Yeah.
So,
is there a turning point moment with Coach Kenny and the staff where he just said something, had a talk, you had a practice that you feel like really just stuck with the team and lasted all season?
At UW?
Yeah.
I think during fall camp, I remember this particular speech during fall camp, and he was just kind of harping on it. We didn't have good practice this day, and he was kind of harping on how good we are, how good we can be, and the people that he recruited. And he kind of finished it off with what I just said, like, the only people that can get in our way is ourselves. They put a good game plan out in front of us, surround us with the right players, and you just look around. This guy came from Kansas, this guy came from here, and look how well you guys have meshed together. And the only person that can stop you is yourself. So I remember that day when he said that, and that was kind of the first time I thought about it in that aspect, and started to kind of preach in the locker room, and kind of stuck with it and just kept running, kept winning games.
I mean, what's been the landmark moment in your guys' eyes of this season so far?
This upcoming season?
Yeah.
I'll let you go first, I think.
Meaning, like the
moment that you feel like when you look back on this fall, like the number one moment that you're going to remember, that you're going to think is a turning point. Moment.
I hope it's holding the conference championship trophy.
I'm saying, like, I'm saying though, in the fall, I mean, that'll be the moment of the year. But I'm saying, when you guys look back on the weeks leading up to now.
Okay.
When you think about, like, that's kind of in comparison. You look back at the weeks leading up to now, what do you think that moment's going to be like? Man, that was a turning point. That's where we really, the gas started to run a little bit faster that day.
I think that, like, second to last practice on the grass field, when we, defense was kind of putting it on us that day. And then we came out the next day, and offense had a good day. And then from that point, it was a little bit of back and forth the whole fall camp. And usually, that's a good sign that you're going to have a good team.
I don't know. Some places, maybe starting camp off, defense might get a jump. Offense got to learn. Offense is a little bit defense and are a little bit different. I mean, like, offense, you got to get the timing with the guys, protection calls and things like that. But I think, like he just said, we had a day where we went back and forth. And then after that, it kind of just kept going back and forth. So that's a good sign. Obviously we have a really good defense, but we have a really good offense. So, it's going to be a battle each and every day. And I think ever since that kind of practice, like he said about our last practice on the grass, I would say since then.
Yeah, it's probably about like
2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's where championships are won.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people underestimate that. Like, during fall camp, you learn a lot about yourself and a lot about your team. And I think just the fact you come out here and good on good, because, not only do we recruit on the offense side, we recruit on the defense side too. We're going to get good players. Iron sharpens iron. And if you came out to a practice, you'll see it every single day.
Who are guys, maybe on both sides of the ball, for Texas State fans watching, that people maybe don't know right now, but they will know in a few weeks?
Okay, don't know. Well, obviously, the guys, like the big time, Ben and all them.
Yeah, Ben.
I would say on offense, guys to look out for that, the fans might not know, that was like Chris Dunn, Bo Sparks.
Yeah, Bo's about to make a big splash this year. So a wide receiver transfer from Utah Tech.
He was freshman All-American last year.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Chris Dunn was here last year, but I think this year he'll really explode.
Yeah, we got so many guys like Lincoln Perry's gonna make an impact. Running back Deion Hankins.
He was here at 22. He had he had a good season.
Deion is gonna make an impact. Shoot on defense. Stephen Parker, Max Harris. He played with us at UIW with ULM. Now he's here.
So does Steve Parker.
Yeah. Steve was at UIW as well.
There's some people who take some windy roads in college football.
Steve went from Kansas to UIW to here. D-Jack.
Oh yeah.
Our DB. Yeah. I mean, we're stacked everywhere. I think you'll kind of, his first couple games, you'll kind of see that. But there's a lot of guys who
James Neal, Manny.
Yeah. Excuse me. There's a lot of guys that who are getting their second opportunity here. With coach staff is gonna let them go out and just play free. So I'm excited.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be a special season. It's gonna be fun to see all this on the field. We're talking about kind of the fall being the place where a lot of this stuff is won. I think there's like an intentionality to it. And also, and I think it seems to me that one of the things that makes this coaching staff great, even just listening to you guys, is the intentionality and the presence that all of your coaches have in what's happening with your team. And you said it well, Jordan, in terms of kind of them feeling like they're on the team as much as it is even coaching you guys, because I think that's one of the things that can really help with them knowing who to play on a Saturday and who not to play on a Saturday as much as anything else, which I think that's one of the areas, and we see it all the time, that it's very hard to get right. Even when you're doing all these practices and you're evaluating everyone, you got 80, 90, 100 talented people. It's easy for a player that should be on the field to slip through the cracks. And when you're as present as they are, they probably get a lot of those decisions closer to correct than maybe other people would.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many variables that play into something like that. And my perspective has kind of changed since this is my second year of coaching. But I think the biggest variable is just trust. As a player, I've been around coaches that I didn't trust. And, as a coach, I've been on the side of like gaining trust, like meeting Jordan for the first time, gaining his trust and stuff like that. So I think when it's a two-way street, it kind of allows you to coach better, it allows you to play better, knowing that, I'm putting a player out on the field and I trust that he's going to execute the game plan. And in return, he trusts that I'm going to put him in the best position to do so. So I think that's something that didn't get talked about a lot.
Yeah. Two totally unrelated questions, actually, but one I'll ask first is, how has being a coach made you a better player? You're still playing right now.
Yeah.
UFL.
It's allowed me to, I get to watch more film. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I mean, I sit at my desk and watch a lot of film, but I think I've learned a lot of things from Coach Leftwich and Coach Kenny that I took with me to the UFL. I got to sit in meetings and watch how they game plan. I got to sit in meetings to see how they break down run game, pass game, how they, scout maybe a particular defensive back or something like that. And I've always been a big study guy. I feel like I owe a lot of my success at UIW because I kind of changed how I prepared for games. I would draw every single play on the call sheet the night before a game. Like, I was that meticulous. So it's coaching with them has allowed me kind of bump up that preparation level. And then being around Luis, we talked about Luis Perez and how smart he is. So I almost feel like when I'm out on the field, like I'm a player with a coach's, brain. It allows me to play faster, kind of seeing things with foresight.
Yeah, I feel like in the UFL, it's so cool about that league getting to exist. It allows a player like you to continue to develop. And we're seeing all sorts of players. I mean, you see Aubrey out for the Cowboys, might be the best kicker in the NFL.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't even be in the league if it wasn't for the USFL giving him an opportunity. But you really see in a lot of ways, like, the guy who would be the 33rd best quarterback in the NFL. I mean, a lot of these guys are so capable and for whatever reason just don't get the chance. Like, a guy like Luis Perez, if they put him into an NFL game, would do so much better than so many backups that are on rosters.
Right.
But for whatever reason, it just doesn't happen. It's kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah, sometimes it's a glass ceiling type of deal, especially at the quarterback position. You have some guys who are just they spend their whole career as a backup. And like I talked about trust, I think someone in the front office of NFL would trust someone that's been a backup here, and here and sign him. Because before you never had the opportunity to extend film, others like CFL or something like that, but extend film right in the backyards of NFL teams. So I think now it allows you to kind of go out, get some more film, and show, hey, maybe I am better than this guy that's been a backup for 5-6 years. No matter at any position, quarterback, wide receiver. A lot of my teammates got signed, and it'd be like the first day of practice. I'm like, why are you here? Why are you in Arlington? And that was the nastiest route I've ever seen. Like, nobody on the Cowboys roster is doing that right now. So I think it's a great thing. I hope it's something that continues to grow. I hope it's something that because you look at like the NBA. The NBA has the G League, and that's where guys go develop when they're maybe not ready for, and the MLB too. Minors and the majors. So I hope it's something that we can continue to do. I hope it becomes like a supplement league to the NFL, where young guys that deserve to keep playing get a chance to do so.
Yeah, it's just a very needed thing in the whole football ecosystem. I'm not going to name names on the show, but there are guys who get these like $5, $6, $7, $8 million contracts to be backup quarterbacks, and just wonder like, what result is it that this front office is expecting if like their quarterback does get hurt and that guy has to come in? Like, there's a guy out there that would play for the minimum salary that just in the spring showed he just started at quarterback, had success in a league.
Right.
Why wouldn't you want to give like an Adrian Martinez an opportunity to go play?
He's signed somewhere, right?
Jets. Yeah, he's on. He might get a chance this year. He's got 2 quarterbacks in front of him that the wind blows over and they might be injured. So Tyrod Taylor is a baller, but man, like if Tyrod Taylor could stay healthy for a whole season, that guy would be starting in the NFL right now.
Definitely.
He's excellent. But the problem is that gets out there in the last 2 games most of the time. So maybe that means Adrian Martinez will eventually get to play this year.
I hope Adrian.
He earned it.
Yeah, I think. He's a good quarterback. What I enjoyed about the UFL is that they decided to kind of have all the teams stationed in one city, and I had a couple of Adrian's teammates on my team, and we also shared a facility, the Stallions and I, in Arlington. So I got to pick his brain a little bit because obviously he was successful at what he did, and he was with I think the Lions before he can't drop down to the UFL. So I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for anybody that played in the spring league because I think everybody deserves a shot. So
I'll tell you the best entertainment is UFL. Jake Bates by a mile.
Shout out Jake Bates, Texas State alum.
Yeah.
So man, he kicked a crazy field goal to beat us last minute in Arlington. That one hurt.
He nailed a 64-yard field goal in his first professional try.
He's a dog.
Like, it's the only version of football. And it's not taken away from anything happening in the field where the kicking was the most exciting thing to watch. They had the whole Michigan Panthers crowd just chanting for him, bring in Jake, because it was like mind-blowing. For the first, like, the guy made like a 64-yarder or a 61-yarder. He couldn't miss. And you're just like, the pure curiosity. And he was like, is this guy ever going to miss a field goal?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where they line him up. It was in the dome. It helped. Now he's kicking for the Lions, but it's and his competition got hurt for the year, so he's gonna have by default. He's gonna be kicking in the NFL this year.
I think it's funny. We were playing them. We were playing Michigan in Ford Field, and I always do this thing. If like somebody's kicking like a game-winning field goal, I don't like to watch, so I turn around, and it shows. It's a testimony to how good you are as a kicker when the quarterback turns around on the sideline, and I'm making sure I'm not looking, and I got fans, you might as well turn around. This is automatic. Like, they had so much confidence in this man. I'm like, surely he just nailed like 360-yarders in a row. I'm sure he's going to miss one right down the middle. So, I'm praying that he has a long, prosperous career in the NFL because he deserves it.
Me too. And
plus, I don't want to see him anymore in the UFL.
He's a special player, but the UFL will, without a doubt, develop more incredible kickers and players of all positions. One kind of closing question. I feel like we gotten to talk a lot about both your journeys, but you had such amazing, it's one of the reasons I was just so excited for this conversation because your roads, I think that the longer roads are often the more gratifying ones. Mm-hmm. They're the ones at the end of the day, life would be boring if it was easy.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree.
No, I was just saying that's 100% true. Obviously, everybody probably wants a quick route, but, God has a plan for everybody. And once you, just put all your own plans and thoughts aside and just follow, his path, I think that's when I kind of started just getting back to, my happiness of this game since we've been playing since we were little kids. And I think that's the most important part of it. Just, not rushing anything, taking everything one day at a time and letting things come to you, not forcing anything.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think, Jordan and I both had, very long paths, but I think everything happens for a reason. I believe in it. I'm also a God-fearing man. I feel like along the way at each school, I learned something that ultimately led to me having a good season at UIW, which kind of, allowed me to prolong my playing career. And it's also given me the opportunity to coach. So I think everything happens for a reason. You don't see it in the moment. because you're in the storm, but when you make it out of it, you kind of look back at it, you realize that it was the best thing for you. So wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, lines up perfectly. If you could both tell me what your hardest challenge was, you think, in this whole football career so far, what would it have been?
I would say mine was this end of COVID season when I had to leave USF, got to Arizona, broke my ankle, fourth game of the season. And then, obviously coming back into the next season, then I kind of still was not bothering, but the summer was like, then going into that season, then obviously I transferred that season to JMU. So that little time period was probably my hardest because I wasn't playing football for a while. Like technically took like almost a year and 75% off of the first season off. So that was my hardest part. And then like you said, going back to earlier and then coming into JMU, that kind of like uplifted me again back to, being who I know I could be.
Did it get you healthier? Like, was that one of the things that really did help you at JMU? Because you got all that, you had the ankle injury. You really gave yourself a lot of time to restore yourself.
Oh,
though.
definitely.
So did it help you kind of get your body back on track? So when you did get that chance again,
body,
and
then
good?
I would say mentally too. Because obviously, sometimes you can go into, your own little mental space or something like that. But like he said, when you I pray, God-fearing man. So I knew that, everything would be all right. But there's going to be times where you fight those battles, and your thoughts can be a little bit overwhelming for you. So once I got there, I think mentally and physically, I just got stronger and things like that. And I think that's what led to the season I had.
Yeah. Kind of similar situation. I guess my hardest time was probably leaving, or what led up to me leaving Missouri. I was at LSU and I was young, kind of understood why things happened the way they did. Then I had a really good year in JUCO and then went to Missouri and felt like I was ready. Drew Lock was starting quarterback at that time, and when he left, it was kind of going to be up in the air. And just things didn't work out the way I thought they would. I ended up, hurting my knee, had to sit out for a little bit, and that kind of set me back. And that was the first time in my career where like real self-doubt started to creep in. And it kind of led to me struggling mentally. Football, when you grow up in football, since you were able to walk, it kind of becomes, it becomes all you know. And the fact that I made it past that point in my life, it gave me clarity that I'm much more than a football player, much more an athlete outside of that. I kind of solidified myself outside of football during that time. But it also helped me get past that self-doubt. And ever since then, I haven't doubted myself since, never looked back. So if you can make it through, an injury, maybe not getting an opportunity you deserve, I think you can make it through anything in life. So that was kind of the turning point in my career and in my life. So,
what's the ceiling for Texas State football this year?
There isn't one.
Sky's the limit. We're gonna make that playoffs.
There's no ceiling.
Whoever's in front of us, let's get right.
There's no ceiling.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. My former colleague, Emory Hunt, I was watching him on CBS Sports HQ
I love Emory.
a few days ago. Yeah, Emory and I worked together at Sportsline.
Mm-hmm.
And he's Emory Hunt, shout out to him, one of the best analysts in football, period. I don't know, also one of the best human beings I've met in the whole broadcast industry, but there's very few people that know football better than he does. And speaking of Brendan Marion, he's the guy who put me on to Brendan. He was onto that go-go offense, helped wrote a book on it. Anyway, amazing guy. But he's on CBS Sports HQ. You're going to like him a lot more if you didn't see him on there. And he said the other day that they were asking what group of 5 team was the most likely to make the playoff. And he said that Texas State's got the best quarterback in the group of 5 and that he's picking the Bobcats to make the playoffs. So.
Yeah, that's our long goal. But obviously, we're not thinking about that right now at all. Take it one day at a time, one game at a time. Want to know every week.
And in closing, it's been amazing having you on. Just give any message you'd like to Texas State Bobcats fans in the college football world.
Put on your seatbelt. It's gonna be a fun ride.
Look forward to seeing y'all August 31st. And every home game, we got 7 home games this year. So
7 home games, that's a blessing.
What's 6 kind of? Are you kind of NRG? We got a lot of home games. So we got
a lot of home games. But NRG is gonna be.
We're trying to pack
the
whack. And I think
it's right there.
The biggest thing is that you look at any great team throughout history, they always had a great fan base. So we want y'all to be loud, be proud, and Get ready.
Looking forward to it.
Looking
Pleasure
forward
having you on
to
the
it.
show.
Appreciate
Sir.
you.
Thank you for having us.